אז מי יכול עלינו? על ילדינו, כי לא עבדה האמונה. עם ישראל, עם ישראל חי. ויונה תפרוס כנפיים, התקווה בת שנות 2000, עוד נצא לשיר ברחובות. כי עם הנצח לעולם לא מפחד, אפילו כשקשה לראות. כולם ביחד, אף אחד פה לא בודד, שישרפו המלחמות. עם ישראל חי.
Ham Israel, hi, my dear. Completely stopping. I don't know, it's not good at all, folks. I don't know what's going on. Yesterday we had a severe thunderstorm. I'm not sure, is it the reason for my network to be not broadcasting things. But still then, we'll go and try this as quick as possible. And how you guys are doing today? I was supposed to do 2 videos last week, which I didn't do. I did only once. That's why I'm going to continue on the same topic, which we started with the genealogy of Jesus. Was Jesus the Messiah who was born? Through the genealogy. And we saw a lot of information last week when we studied, and one of the questions that I raised, that if Jesus was born through the Holy Spirit, and Matthew and Luke records it, and if Matthew, if they are correct and both of them are approved and correct, that means then why God would be born, born through the Holy Spirit through a woman, a human being? Why is that? If Matthew and Luke is already proving that Jesus was the Son of God, then what is the necessity of the Holy Spirit to prove one more time through the virgin birth? There is no necessity at all if we think that Matthew and Luke believe. That was a question that I raised last time, but today we're going to see something more, and let us unpack and unrelation what do you call it? Whatever you can unravel or whatever it is. So we'll see. We're going to open it up and see it now. All right. Last time we saw that Matthew traces Jesus' descent from Abraham, and Luke traces Jesus was descending from Adam's line. So Matthew genealogy parallels to Jesus and Moses, especially the author that completely in the Matthew book. If you see, the author will, all the time he would compare Jesus to Moses. That was the comparison in Matthew 1. So Luke presents to his father as Heli, whose father like Jacob's father, but here, Joseph's father, and here the Joseph's father in Matthew was Jacob. So it's kind of a, it's an hypothesis that we think that Luke always talks about, the genealogy through the Mary genealogy, and Matthew talks about the Joseph's genealogy. There are so many things happening in those genealogy issues. We will see. Okay, um, Matthew gives Joseph's father as Jacob, and Luke gives Joseph's father as Heli. Matthew traces the line through David and Solomon, but Luke traces the lines through sons of David, which is probably Nathan. Okay, the only name is common in these both chapters, Matthew 1 and Luke 3. The only common name in both genealogies is Zerubbabel and Shealtiel. So the one scholar, the biblical scholar, says, again, folks, I want to tell you guys, Christianity, Christian people, please listen to this one. Especially, I'm speaking to the people, those who are back home, because most of my postings are towards you guys, because probably, Western world, everyone knew so many things, but I'm giving it to you so that you would understand what I'm talking. So when you say the genealogies, when we talk about the genealogies, like in both Matthew and Luke, they are talking about Jesus' genealogy, right? So think about this one, folks. Matthew talks about the genealogy of Joseph. Luke talks about the genealogy from to the Mary. Um, my question is, my thing is to you guys is very sensitive matters. You have to understand this one. Very, very sensitive. It is not targeting you guys to that you're wrong or right. I'm just giving you the facts that you should go and analyze and reanalyze what I am telling is right or wrong. Okay, because you must know what you're studying, what is that you're reading from New Testament. That is my objective, so that you will understand more about the book than what you're reading. So sometimes it may looks like it is I'm straightforward to certain things, but I got to do what I've got to do. So that's why I'm trying to do this one here. So let's continue with the Matthew and Luke. So the only name in the common is Shealtiel and Zerubbabel. The one scholar wrote the genealogy list may less monarchy than Matthew's. Luke's genealogy may be less monarchy than Matthew's. One scholar says, like personal name did not receive. There were so many personal names used in both genealogies. Some of the personal names were never even used before, like right after or some after the initial centuries. It was not used. This was used only later centuries. Okay, so Joseph and Judah and Simon and Levi, came after several centuries. The name Judah, Joseph, Levi, this all came after several centuries. It was not that immediately it was given. So probably during the Levi Maccabean era, I can say. The two different fathers for Salathiel, Matthew says Jeconiah was Jeconiah, and Luke says the father of Salathiel is Neri. So Matthew and Luke use the numerology. One used the 7, the other one used the 14 numbers, the pattern of 7, to prove Jesus is the Messiah. Let's see the genealogies. Josiah begot Jeconiah and his brothers during the exile. A scholar conflate the two of these names, like that is, Jeconiah and Joachim are not the brothers, but the exile was in the time of Jeconiah. Some say this was the mistake that when they wrote it, because it is wrong, not correct. And then the kings after David weren't even 14 generations. That's what some of the things that they have to go back and look into. Where is that I left? Really? Yeah. So David names, in the 14, when you see, Matthew separates into three sets of 14 generation, 14 names, right? So when you go there, um, 14 names in first set, second set, third set. The David's name will come in the first, from Abraham to David, the last in the listings of Matthew chapter 1 as David, and then in the second set starts, David name will come back again in first set. Number 1. So first 14, David it ends up the last, David name ends up the last word, and then again the second 14 starts, David name comes first. So basically, the numerologically it says it 42 names, but actually it was 41 names because David name was spelled out in twice. But whereas Luke has 77 names in the groups of 11. So Matthew is 14, Luke is 7. These are the numerological pattern that they use. So 11 groups of 7 is equal to 77 names were mentioned in Luke chapter, whereas Gospel Matthew it was only 41 names. Okay, the genealogy of the David through Nathan. So the ancestry account of Luke matches the Old Testament, that is Tanakh. So the ancestry, maybe probably from Abraham to Adam, it matches exactly what it was told in the Old Tanakh for the, what was said in the Luke book, right? It kind of matches it. But, the same name, but there is a common name. There's a one name called Canaan that is inserted between the Arphaxad or Shelah, which is not found in Masoretic Old Testament, but which is found in only in New Testament or in the Septuagint version of it. So there is a name. Simply think about this one. There is a name which is called Canaan, which has been kind of inserted in between, where through and it is appear in the Septuagint, but it is not there in the Hebrew book. When you want to talk about the genealogy correctly, it has to come from the Hebrew book. It has to come from Hebrew, but the name was not there, but it was written in the Greek version because Greek version was man-made. Folks, also you guys think, like sometimes back, like the what do you call Jerusalem. When the authors write any book, like Luke or Matthew or anything, there is lots of forgery going on there, especially when they converted this or translated this Septuagint. Septuagint means making the Tanakh, like 4 or 5 books, which was written in Hebrew, to get it translated in Greek. That's a Septuagint book. So those days at one time, everybody started writing the Tanakh or in the Septuagint. So there are several books of hundreds and hundreds of books of Septuagint was found all those days, but the problem was it was not matching each other. So much of contradiction. So the biblical authors, especially when the people lived in Scotland here, biblical or Irish, I don't know. So the biblical says that it is so difficult for the letters to connect it because there's something missing in one. Somebody writes it, somebody writes it very exaggerated. So it is not easy. So basically, Luke was having 77 names in 11 groups. Each and every group has 7 names in that one. So the ancestry account of Luke matches the God. And I already told that because there was something is inserted between one of the words and which makes that little bit odd. So Matthew started from Abraham to Jesus. Luke starts with Jesus and back up to Abraham and Adam. Both matches genealogy from Abraham to David, Ruth 4:12, 18:12, and First Chronicles 2 to chapters 2 to verses from 1 to 14. So genealogy in Matthew deliberately arranged in 3 sets of 14 generations, also based on numeric values. Numeric value of David is 14. The two genealogies overlaps. Matthew has 41 names, and Luke has 57 names. See, one person is 41 and the other person is 57. Matthew traces Jesus through David and Solomon, and Luke traces Jesus through David and Nathan. At the time of the exile, both lists agree on a name of Shealtiel. However, Matthew lists Shealtiel. The father was Jeconiah in the first century or First Chronicles 3:17. So Luke 3:27, this father founds as Neri. Genealogies came together only at Shealtiel and Zerubbabel, who lived after Babylon in captivity. So then genealogy separates again, confusing the two different paths of Zerubbabel, and in Matthew it is the Abiel. In Luke it is 3:27 says that it is an Elhisia. The genealogy study matters are very, very difficult, not easy, folks. Okay, so then meeting again, or Joseph, but disagree with the names of the grandfather. There are a lot of names missing on this one. So Matthew 1:16, father of Joseph as Jacob. Luke 3:23 lists from him as an Eli. We had to re-list him back again. So Matthew lists 4 women and Luke doesn't list any woman. But still, this is the gospel according to the Mary. That's what people say, right? So some scholars says Matthew gives nature lines and Luke gave the royal line. So, when the cleaning comes happening, Matthew wants to give a different name to the room, and what is it called? Not what the room, maybe the main the names. Some of the names been disagreed by all the other people. So Matthew 1:16, the father of Joseph as Jacob. Luke 3:23 says that lists him as an Eli. So both different names over here. Matthew lists 4 women and Luke doesn't list any women at all. But still says Luke is the book. It goes through the mother of Mary as a virgin, natural birth, conceived with the Holy Spirit. So that's the thing that it has been written in this place. So Matthew lists 4 women in his book, but whereas when we say the descendants of Jesus, the Jesus was descended from David, but in this book in Luke it is written the Joseph was the father of Luke, but they never mentioned any woman in the Luke chapter. That's unbelievable, right? So, but anyway, some scholars say that Matthew gave the natural line, Luke gave the royal line, or the aristocracy comes through the Luke narrations. So Jesus was the son of Joseph, who is the son of Jacob. Jesus was also son of Mary, where the father was, whose father was Eli. Luke doesn't mention Mary as Jesus' mother, but mentions Joseph as his mother. Folks, I can still further go and go. There is another book called, a Coptic book called the Jubilee. So they say that everything was copied from Jubilee. It was from Egyptian Coptic Bible or writing things. Sometimes if you have time, you can see that when if you on online or something, try to read that. Whatever wrote in Jubilee is written back again in the New Testament. That's what all about is. My question to you guys is, think about this, folks. Why these many things? First of all, why Luke was written after Matthew? Matthew was written like sometime after Mark, but Luke was written after some time from Matthew. So why um, there is a fight between like the author of Luke and everybody, because um, the thing is that um, when Matthew's version, Matthew's story, if it was right, then why Luke wants to present another genealogy listings? Why? If Matthew is correct, leave it Matthew itself, then you could have gone something else. But Luke is giving a different genealogy, which is not matching with the Matthew's genealogy, and it is completely waste of thing. Like, then why? Why would you want to do that? First of all, if God is available there, God is the Holy Spirit available every time, then why we want to confuse all these things? This is what I'm asking you, folks. Think about when God, or like a huge big one, which has been the faith of some certain group, why there is so many confusion? Why that is? It is written in the Matthew. It's not written in Luke. It's written in Luke. It's not written in Matthew. Why would it is like that? If God Himself was giving birth to Himself, why these many things are going on? I have no clue, nothing, folks. Think about this one. So by that itself tells you Christianity is not the right way to go through, because of so many flaws in that place. I'm giving you guys everything in a very bold way, because I don't know, somebody can come and take me out. Who knows? Because I'm talking about DMK. But anyways, think about this one. Very simple thing. If you want to re-narrate this thing, like probably, I don't know, maybe next time I should put some recordings on this one, right? But even then, folks, think about that one. Both the wedding people, for the groom and the bride. I mean, like, oh, the church is getting married with the Messiah, right? So the both now it's getting ready at the final stages. In these final stages, you should think, folks, am I following the right thing? Am I going through the right way path? Is this right thing? What I'm reading is correct or not? Why the genealogies are so different? Why the names are so confusing? Why some names are in the Matthew and some names are not in the Luke? Why there is a common names like Shealtiel, Selah, and Jeconiah? All these names are very common in both the places. Why one's father is different as Heli, the other father is Neri. So why it is so different? Why? What is going on? You should ask yourself, am I worshipping the right person? Am I going to the right person? You have to think about it, folks. It's must and should, because this is your life. Only one time you're going to play on this earth. So we need to make sure that am I following the right thing? During the genealogies, I'm raising the same questions again and again. Why there are two genealogies narratives? Why Luke did not accept Matthew narrative of genealogy? Why he went and wrote the separate genealogy? Why he did that? What is the necessity? You don't have to. And moreover, if both the genealogies are right, then why should we have a virgin birth? What is the necessity of God to come through as a son of God through woman by the Holy Spirit? Why would He do that? Because already the genealogy proved He is the Messiah, and then why should He want to do that? So there are so many contradictions. How come a God's book could be this much of contradiction in itself? It is not right, folks. It is not right. So what I'm trying to say, understand your analogy is right or not. Understand what you're doing is right or not, because nowadays you will never know who told what they're going to do, how they're going to do. Nowadays it's so difficult out there. So folks, focus here. This is the only thing you will focus. Ask the questions that I ask you. Raise the questions that I ask you to your father, to your preacher, and let me know what they are talking. Let me know what their answer is, right? So, but anyways, folks, again and again, we'll unpack anything, everything when it comes on the way. And thank you so much for your time. And I'll get back with you one more time. Probably, maybe if my time is good, maybe if my, what I can say, if my network is good, I'll get back with you tomorrow. Till then, Shabbat Shalom, Shavvato. May God bless you. God be with you. Take care. Bye-bye. ശരി മണ്ണ.
ഓക്കെ
ഓക്കെ.